Hi, everyone. My name is Georgette Rerun. I am the host for Tonight with Vince Davis, and I work for the law office of Vincent Davis. And my other host, Cassandra. Hi, Cassandra.
Hi.
Mr. Davis can't join us today. He was in a hearing and he was running late for the show. So Cassandra and I are going to do it. Yay. Okay. All right. So, Cassandra, go ahead and start the show with what we talked about today. What happened in 2018 about the family preservation?
Okay. In 2018, Donald Trump signed in the first Family Prevention Act, which is supposed to be something to transform the child welfare system and help preserve families. And what it does is it preserves, it gives this is the tricky part. It gives the states and territories and tribal people to choose how to spend their Title E4 funding. So it's either you spend it on just taking the child completely out of the home, or you could try to preserve a family. They have the option to do this, is preserve families, which obviously nobody's preserving families or choosing that option. But if they don't choose that option, then the reason why it's makes it difficult is because they don't get the full Title E4 funding if they're going into a foster home instead of providing preservation of the family. So it's better off to preserve the family and get the funding, or get half of the funding and not. But they get reimbursed the funding if they preserve the family. Also,
that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening.
That's not what's happening. But also, the reason why it's not happening is they took 2 years to finalize it and stuff. The reason why is because I feel like, my opinion is that they were looking for loopholes and trying to find ways to still get Title E4 funding without preserving families. And there is ways. From this section that I was reading right here, it says, under a first family, states, territories, tribals are approved for Title 4E plans, and they have the option to use the funds for prevention services that would allow candidates of foster care to stay with families and relatives and parents. And then it also says that, because from my experience, my kids were put into an STPR, which is a therapeutic group home. They get funded for therapeutic group homes, but they only get
For the first 2 weeks.
For the first 2 weeks in non-therapeutic group homes. So they're going to try to find a reason to put your kid in a trauma-based prevention placement plan, so that way they could put them in these STPRs and keep them there to continue to get funding instead of just the 2-week funding.
Right. So that's what I was trying to explain to you guys before, is that they go around it, and they use the system to get what they want. So
to continue to get the funding.
To continue to get the funding, even though President Trump placed an order in 2018, which I think it stays effective until 2024. Am I right? Or 2023?
I'm not sure.
I think it's 2023 or 2024. I can't remember. But that's what I was telling you guys before. They set rules in place to violate the rights of the parents. So what do? They medicate the children and say that they're not stable, they have some kind of mental illness, and it's all because of the parents. Remember that the children only started reacting when they left the parents' home, not when they were with the parent. But then they always blame the parent for causing the trauma to the child, so they can continue to get the funding. So who makes the profit from all this? The pharmaceutical companies. Remember that. They make big bucks from social workers. And also the Department of Child Services make a huge profit and the state benefit from all of the above. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
No?
says right here in the first paragraph where they who usually gets funded. It says one of the major changes of the act seeks to bring about how the Title E4 funding is being spent in the states. Um, Prior to this, the funds would go to only be used to cost of foster care maintenance for eligible children, administrative expenses to manage the programs, training for staff, foster parents, certain private agency staffs, adoption assistants, and kinship and guardianship assistants, which means exactly it goes to people and not actually trying to prevent family from getting preserved or reunited or reunified. That goes right there. The staff, the lawyers, the foster parents, the adoptive foster parents, they get funded. But that was supposed to change with this act, and it didn't.
Well, this
Really.
act is supposed to be the parents should be able to benefit from that. But what I
Yes.
heard the social workers say today, by the way, on record, and I heard it with my own ears, so nobody can tell me I didn't hear it. She told the parent that the reason they have to put the children in a foster home is because it's costs more money for them to have the child in the parent's home while they're doing the investigation. So they have to remove the child before the investigation is done into a foster home because it's cheaper for them. Bullshit, ain't it? Yeah. I smell caca coming out of her mouth, like, just listening to her. So that's just a bunch of bullshit. That's what they tell people. See, and they do it maliciously. Let me explain why. The first thing the social worker asked, and I can hear it in the recording, the first thing the social worker asked the parent, are you recording me? Are there cameras in the home? Why is she so paranoid, right? If she's there to do her job, why is she so paranoid? So, anyways, and the parent said no, but she was recording her. I don't know what Attorney Davis is going to use with that, but I really don't know yet because it's a brand new person that called me today about this. But I'm just letting you guys be aware that they will always try to violate your rights. So don't allow it. Understand your rights. Don't just go with the flow with them. A lot of times, oftentimes, the family members will tell you to go with the flow and to trust the social worker. Family members don't know shit about CPS. A lot of times, they don't know anything about CPS. So they think that the system works. The system doesn't work. The system only works for government officials. Anyone that carries a badge, such as firefighters, police officers, just like the one in New York. The police officer that took custody of 3 kids from the mother, and the mother was crying for help because of the abuse. And the system made the mother look like, family court, made the mother look like she is purposely reporting him to destroy him without any cause. That's how they make mothers look since 2008. So then later on, the child dies, right? What is the family court system going to say? I'm so sorry, I fucked up. They're not going to say that because they're so fucking biased. They're against the woman way more than the man. And that is the God honest truth. Because so many men since 2008 are getting custody of their kids and the woman is paying them child support. And oftentimes the men have connection with the court system. Either they're sleeping with one, cheating on their wives with one, or sleeping with a judge or a district attorney or a social worker. And that's how they get their way. But when you see a man and a woman married and they're protecting each other, and the man is is protecting his wife and the wife is protecting her husband and children, then they want to separate them and they both lose custody. That's how the system works. So the United States of America have the balls to make fun of other countries while they are burying their own country. And I am sick of it. Um,
Did you see that comment?
yeah, I have a question, Deidre. She said, do legal guardians still get CPS funding? Legal guardians, you know what? It depends on the state. I'm not sure about California, but I'll be
Yeah.
happy to ask Mr. Davis that. But there was another question. What about the waiver the counties could take, which is the non-confront? Grace, can you put these comments up, dear?
I was talking about Jeremy Derek's comment.
Um, you know the funding for CPS come from Social Security
Comes
Fund
from, yeah, that's
through Bill
Title E4
Clinton.
funding. Yeah, we are very aware through Bill. He's the one that started all this shit. We're very
Jeremy,
against him.
Jeremy, I've been exposing Bill Clinton and the Clinton family for a very long time now. Like I said to most of you guys, if a lot of you watched my shows before, I used to be a Democrat. I'm no longer one. I'm an independent voter. I vote for whoever I want, whether it's a Democrat or Republican. But unfortunately, the Democrats are such a disappointment. Um, it's kind of scary to vote for them again. Oh my God. So that man I was talking to you guys about, the police officer in New York that killed his son, he left his son in the garage, 19-degree weather, with no food, no water, no clothing. I mean, no sheets. I mean, no covers, nothing. Not even socks. The child died. He lives with his girlfriend. The 10-year-old survived. Thank God the 10-year-old survived, but the 5-year-old didn't survive. So the media was all over it. The media was like, well, why did they take custody from the mom? If he's an abusive father, why did they take custody from the mom? Because he's a fucking cop. He's a police officer. They favor cops. They favor anybody with a badge. That's why the government and the people with badges, they get away with everything. There's a lot of times I see attorneys drinking and driving because they think they're above the law. And sometimes, the person with the badge, the man with the badge, his mother is an attorney. I mean, there's a lot of connection in the system and they get what they want. So it's not who you are as a parent, is who you know and who you're sleeping with. I oftentimes speak to families, sometimes, families who are not divorced and sometimes divorced families fighting for custody. And I'm going to tell you guys this. If you're going through a custody battle and that custody battle turns into a juvenile dependency case, you have to be very careful. When you are a mom, as a mom, you show emotions, and showing any type of emotion, whether it's happy or sad or confused or anything like that, the court sees it as mentally unstable. Even if you're crying for your child because you're worried about your child, you're emotional because you have passion. When your child is hurt, you're concerned as a mom. That's a no-no. But then when the judge sees that you're not concerned, they say, well, you don't care. So I learned, being with Mr. Davis, is that you have to always have a poker face. You can't show happiness, sadness. You can't roll your eyes. You can't look at the other party, your ex. They're going to lie, because you're always dealing with one party who is a narcissist. One has to be the difficult one, right? So that one is going to dominate the court system. It's going to dominate the whole case. So you need not to show any type of emotion whatsoever. Even if he or she walking by you, you can't even look at them. You have to ignore them completely. And your eyes have to be on the judge. And oftentimes I see people hiring an attorney and they complain because they want it their way. But if you want it your way, why in the fuck did you hire an attorney? Then go do it your way. And don't bother hiring an attorney. So people keep in mind that you either hire an attorney and listen to your attorney or do it your way and see how that works out for you. I don't recommend you doing it your way because it doesn't work. But sometimes the attorney will tell you something, like I told you guys before when Mr. Davis was on the show with me. Me and him not argue, but we debate a lot. His way doesn't make sense to me. But once I do it his way, I get better results. Cassandra knows what I'm talking about. I showed her something that he did with me. So people don't understand that you guys have to listen to your attorney, even if it doesn't make sense to you. Even if it doesn't make sense to you. Another thing, the attorney meets with you after court. Then he speaks to you for 30 minutes. Then you're hysterical after the meeting. You leave fine, but then you come back and say, well, Mr. Davis said that I was going to get the kids back today. No, he didn't. He didn't say that. Mr. Davis said he's going to try to stop the TPR, which he did. But he didn't tell you he was going to get your kids back today. People hear what they want to hear. They assume they understood what the attorney said. Then they come back, I want to talk to Mr. Davis now. No. You're going to have to wait because you're not the center of the attention. You're not before everybody else. When your attorney gives you 30 minutes to talk to you about the outcome of today hearing, listen.
And if you don't understand, ask questions.
Ask questions. But don't assume after the meeting that he said something that he didn't say, and then you take your own delusional thoughts and run with it. I had to yell at somebody today. I'm like, calm the fuck down. Who showed up in court? Mr. Davis. Did he speak to you? Well, it wasn't enough time. And guess what? Davis, 30 minutes with her. 30 minutes. But then when I said Davis spent 30 minutes with you, she's like, oh, I forgot. Yes, he did. But do you see how she said it at first? Only a few minutes. I asked, why didn't you ask him the questions? Well, I was too scared. Why? Is he going to bite you? Why? And then she's like, well, I thought he said I'm going to get my kids today. I said, so you come to us before your TPR hearing and you automatically, we're going to tell you you're going to get your kids back today? It doesn't work that way. So I want to let you guys understand, or help you guys understand. Your emotions is what hurts you because you need to sleep. When you have an attorney, leave it in the attorney's hand, especially if it's not a court-appointed attorney. But you guys lack sleeping, you guys emotional all the time, you're on edge all the time, it's not going to help you. The court is not going to say, oh my gosh, she's a mom. That's how my mom was. The judge is not going to say that. Those assholes forget their childhood. Oftentimes, a lot of the judges hate their mother and they side with the father. A lot of the judges. So you need to hold yourself together. Hold yourself together. I told you guys put on your armor, the whole armor of God. If you guys are Christian or if you guys believe in a higher power, put on the whole armor of God. You can't let your emotion take over. You have to be careful with that. um, Somebody wrote a comment. I'm trying to find it. Can you see it, Cassandra? There was an important comment. Um, okay, here we go. Um, the non-conformist. He wrote or she wrote, people do not understand. Um, Involved and people allow their egos to take center stage. Yes, they allow their egos to take center stage. Hey, Grace, I need you to start putting these comments up, please, because I can't do it. Don't feel like I need to keep saying that. Grace? Okay, so guys, I just want you to know that when your attorney starts speaking with you about your case, I need you to have like a notebook with you and a pen, even when you go to court, and start writing down everything. Ask your attorney this, Mr. So and so or Miss So and so, what's the outcome of today's hearing? Because sometimes we're in the courtroom, we're listening, but we're not really listening or focused on what's going on because your body's numb. Your whole focus, I want to get my kids. I want my child or children. So get a notebook, write down the date of the hearing, which is whatever date today, and then the outcome of the hearing. What is the next step? And tell your attorney to answer these questions. Write it down so you can be organized. I talk to so many women who say, I don't know what happened. What did you ask your attorney? No. When you guys call us, we can't just go in there and find out what happened because it's not a public record. We can't just go in there and find out. So you need to be able to get your information from the attorney. And usually with court appointed attorneys, once you're in court with them, you're walking out the courtroom, you hold them and you ask, what happened? Give me the plain, simple English. What happened today? Okay? And write it down. Can you start reading the comments? I'm not wearing my reading glasses, Cassandra.
What, the ones on the screen or the ones on the side?
Choose.
Uh, Lindsay said, wish me luck for tomorrow. I have my disposition hearing. Wished.
Wish me luck for tomorrow. I have my disposition hearing. Is that what you said? Honey,
Yeah.
I'm going to pray for you, Lindsay. I don't believe in luck. I believe in blessings. But I will pray for you, baby girl.
And,
Yeah.
and then
So, guys,
Jamie said, I keep all my
go ahead. No, go.
I keep all my communication through text or emails for proof. I have since August from the lawyer's department and anyone that's involved. Good idea.
Yeah, but you guys need to understand to write down the hearing, what happened in the hearing. What time was the hearing? What date was the hearing? What happened in the hearing? What was the outcome of the hearing? You need to write that in. You guys don't write that. Oftentimes when I speak to you guys, you don't know what type of hearing you had or what type of hearing is coming up. And then you guys say that the court-appointed attorney is not returning your call. Email. The first thing you need to ask your attorney when you meet them, what's your email address? Oftentimes they have a cell number that they use through work. You can text them. But what I have noticed is that a lot of people just say that because they're lazy to do the work. I understand. I don't trust court-appointed attorneys either. I know they'll return your call. But you have to do your due diligence to get more information from them, to get a hold of them. Written emails are very important. And they will respond to your email faster than a call. Am I right, Cassandra?
Yes. Ever since that you've told me that, when I was working with my court-appointed attorney, ever since I emailed her rather than try to call her, I always got responses faster.
Yeah. So just make sure you guys,
I didn't get them right away, but I got them faster.
Yeah. But it is better than just leaving a message, because they really don't call back. They really don't.
No.
But I also want you guys to understand that when you talk to your family members about your case, is not a good idea. There's a lot of cases that are lost. I mean, they lose custody because they talk too much to the family member. You have to keep your business to yourself. And the family members, I hope they're watching, and I pray to God they're watching. Stop talking too much to the social workers. Stop talking too much. Because they will take your word. Anything that you say against your daughter or your son or the grandkids, and they're going to twist it around, and they're going to make your kids look like they're abusing the kids, their own children. So be careful what you say to the social workers. And I highly recommend that you guys stick together as family and don't divide yourselves apart, because the social worker's goal is to divide you guys apart, not to, keep you guys together. Because I mentioned to you guys before, they want you divided because you're weaker when you're divided. You're stronger when you're united together. Remember that. That's why I wish the whole United States can get together and protest together, like at the same time, for the streets to be filled. Because that's when they know we mean business, right? But unfortunately, not everybody is on the same, not everybody's on board with this for some reason.
Did you see the comment? What about strategies to prevent the child from being detained in the first place? Do you guys have time to briefly discuss what not to do? CPS has sights on my child again. Family won't listen to me.
I'm gonna tell you something that I heard Mr. Davis say. Okay, and I know he's not here right now. I know Macy misses him. I'm sorry, Macy. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but he's not on the show today, baby. But anyways, I heard Mr. Davis say that to a client, she hired us. That was like a year ago, and he told her, he said, "Do you have your mom or dad or sister nearby?" She said, "I have my mom nearby." He said, "Take your child to your mother immediately." And I asked Mr. Davis why, and he said, because the child is not with her. He's with the mom, the grandmother, because the social worker told her she's going to go and take the child from her. It's a strategy that he has. I don't know what it is, but he was on the case, and her child was returned to her a week later. And that's the whole thing I know about that case. But he did mention to take the child to the grandmother immediately, and that was last. I think that was December of last year. And a week later, she got the child to stay with her. And I don't know what happened in the hearing, but either way, she called me and said thank you. And that was that. But that's, something you might want to ask Mr. Davis when he's on the show again, hopefully tomorrow. But also keep in mind, too, guys, even though families don't listen, but sometimes you have to educate them. You have to educate them. You have to let them watch videos. You have to let them read books and listen to other people's stories. That's how you educate your family. They're not going to just take your word for it. So, and that's why I said I hope the family is listening because it's very important. The social worker's demise is to separate you guys apart. Same thing with marriages. If the husband and wife love each other, oh, believe me, there's no domestic violence. They want them apart. They want to separate them. And that's why I call them demons and stupid, because that's just how they operate. And remember this, if you're in the same county, like Mr. Davis said before on the show, if you're in the same county and you had a prior CPS before, then you meet somebody, then you want to start a family, and then you're in the hospital delivering the baby, the CPS worker will come to the hospital and remove the child because you're in the same county where you had the previous children removed from you. So I heard one time on the show, Mr. Davis told someone to move to another county, to go to another state, if you will.
Better
So
than another county, a different state would be better from my experience of seeing people do that before, because I've seen people do that before and got away with having their kid after the fact they had a prior CPS case. I've seen it
wow,
happen. And they had to move
I,
completely out of state.
yeah, it's really bad. And like I said, you guys, there's a mother, two mothers that I know personally, not personally, but through work, that they killed themselves when they removed their children. And that's what they want. They want you guys to lose yourselves. They didn't care that she died. They didn't care that that woman died of a broken heart. Like literally, her heart broke and she killed herself. So I hope to God that, again, educate your family members, and I hope to God that they stay silent, not talk too much. I know a mother, a grandmother, that she kept talking too much to the social worker. She even offered her tea and cupcake, and she thought she was her friend, a grandmother, old lady, older lady. She thinks she's sweet. She told the social worker everything about her grandson. He likes to eat junk food. I told my daughter not to give him chips, and my daughter loves buying him chips and cupcakes and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. But, Grandma, you just offered the social worker a cupcake. So you're the one who's introducing the child to the cupcakes. But do you see how you understand? Then the social worker wrote down in a report grandmother is concerned about the child's health and diet. But she didn't write down that the grandmother gave me cupcakes and she buys cupcakes. You see how they miss out on their report? So just be careful what you say and be careful what your family says. And if you get involved with a CPS case immediately, please, please educate your family immediately. To stay silent and to let them know that they can't just open their mouth and talk to a social worker. You guys have rights. You guys don't understand that if a social worker gets a police officer, barges in your home without a warrant, takes your child, you have a good civil lawsuit. If the social worker tells you, go ahead, what?
Oh, I was just going to comment on Macy's comment. If you're trying to move, they will issue a warrant for your arrest. Macy, just to be clear, we're talking about if you had a prior CPS case, lost your parental rights to that child, and then decided you wanted to have another child, we're telling you to move out of state before you do it. That would be our opinion because of what we heard Mr. Davis say. We're not trying to say move out of state right after having a an investigation put on you, because that, yes, then they would put a warrant out on you, and then you'd get in trouble for that. But we're telling you, if you plan to start a new life with a new child, do it outside of the state or county, just to clarify.
She said, makes sense. Apologies. No worries. That'd be kind of weird, Macy, if we tell you to like commit crime on
Yeah.
live. That'd be kind of weird. Yeah. So again, um, I think Deidre said move out of state. Yeah. I guess she's agreeing with us. Um, Make sure that you have paper trail, you guys. It's very important. Paper trail is the social worker that came, what time they came, how many police officers were there, what are the names on the badges of the police officers. Um, Make sure that you have it on record that you did ask if they have a warrant. They said they had a warrant. You asked to see the warrant, and they refused to show you the warrant. That's very important. Writing the time, the date it happened. Because oftentimes they take the children, then get a warrant after the removal of the children. Right? So if they came at 3:15 to take the children in the morning, and then they get a warrant at 7:18 at night, example, how did you have a warrant at 3 in the morning? Right? Because if you have a warrant, that means the warrant is signed at a certain time on a certain day, right? So think about it. Time, date is very important. And the names of the officers that were there and the name of the social worker that was there to remove your children. And I told you guys before, please get cameras. Cameras are getting cheaper and cheaper for some reason. When I first got my Ring cameras, they were very expensive. Now they're cheaper. So get Ring cameras, have Ring cameras in your home. Um, get the surveillance, 24-hour surveillance sign. We said to get it from Amazon. Mr. Davis was on the show when we talked about this. Put that on the front, the front yard. If the social worker walks in, she's already consenting to be recorded. Remember that. Because
Um,
go ahead.
uh, I had that question too. So, like, when a mom is in labor, it's Deidre said, does the hospital run the mother's name in a CPS database? Or, like, how does CPS get alerted that the baby is born from the mother that had a previous CPS case? How do they?
Oh,
Is there like a red flag like that pops up when the mom's in the hospital? Like, how do they get notified?
blood test. They have their record on the system.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
They have their record on the system, the name, social security number, their blood type, all of that, blood test, everything, DNA. When you deal with the state, it's very, um, it's like you're dealing with the mafia. They know where you are.
And then Jamie also said, is there a way to obtain transcripts from court dates and juvenile dependency hearings, or no? And if not, why?
Yes, you can obtain transcript. Mr. Davis said that several times. You can request for your transcripts, but when you request for your whole file, Mr. Davis says, sometimes there's just things disclosed in the file that only a judge can release it. Oftentimes, when you go to the courthouse to request for your files, they say, "Oh, you're gonna have to fill this paperwork out, and you're gonna have to meet a judge, and the judge has to okay it to release the file to you." So that happens sometimes, depending on the case, and depending on a lot of stuff. So just keep that in mind. But you do have the right to order your transcripts. And by the way, after a certain amount of years, I found out that they put it in a general, like iCloud, kind of like a cloud-based system, and everything that you did not see in your file that they refuse to let you see, it's stored there, and you can request for that. You can request for it, and by law, they have to give you everything. That's what did Deidre say?
Do you ever come out of that database negative? I don't think
No,
so.
No, they know. Like for example, a grandmother was in CPS. She had a CPS, I guess, call against her like 20 years ago, but they didn't remove the children. But then when her child had a baby, and then a report was made against her grandchild, then they told her they can't keep placement with her, even though she didn't lose the child. But there was a report made against her 20 years ago. So it doesn't just disappear. It's not like a felony that it's on your record for 8 years or 7 years. I don't know how long is felonies. I don't even know, but like it stays on your record for like 7 years and then it goes away. It's not like that. So CPS, that's why Attorney Davis said you have more rights as a criminal than you do as a parent, because it's a nightmare that doesn't end. It doesn't end. It's a nightmare. CPS reminds me of Freddy Krueger, the movie, the Roach Motel that you can check in but you can't check out. That's exactly what CPS is. They're the Roach Motel. I'm sorry, that's the only way I can explain it.
I just love your I can't even think what it's called now.
My
Your comparisons. You're
my
like your
CPS, yeah, they're scumbags, but yeah, they really are the Roach Motel. Yeah, they will they will destroy you,
your
and you
metaphors
can't
or
get,
whatever.
yeah, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, but that's how they are. So just be careful. Again, that's why I tell people this. Like I had a guy that called me and he said, Miss G, my wife and I are having problems. It's all because of her mother. I have the evil witch from hell, mother-in-law, and et cetera, et cetera. I said, I know, sweetie. I understand what you're going through. He's like, I want to take custody of my children. I don't want to hurt my wife. She's a good mom. And I'm like, then why do you want to do that to your wife? Because I'm worried about my mother-in-law. She's crazy, right? And I said, honey, have you thought about, taking your wife somewhere else and living away from the mother-in-law? He said, yes, but my wife, loves her mom and blah, blah, blah. I said, look, if you're going to have conflicts like this in the marriage and then say something happens and then the mother-in-law calls the police gets involved, police notifies CPS, CPS takes the children. He's like, whoa, 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 what? And then he didn't know any of this dynamic. I had to break it down to him. He's like, you know what, Miss G, I'm just going to go home and reconcile with my wife. Kind of like, he wanted peace because he loves his kids so much. He didn't know the dynamic behind all of this crap. And that's exactly literally how it happens. All you have to do is make one police call, go to the house, sees a child or even a toy on the floor. Automatically, they call the Department of Child Services. And that's it. Once they get involved, it's like a fucking Pandora box that opens, right? And everybody knows you can't just close it. Yeah, you cannot close Pandora's box. Um, I'm sorry, guys. I'm not wearing my reading glasses today, but is there anything else
I,
that I?
it says, is a compliance hearing even a thing? I haven't been able to find anything on one. I don't
What?
know. As she said, is a compliance hearing even a thing? Because she can't find anything about one.
A compliance hearing? I don't know what that means, Macy. A compliance hearing? Is that what they told you, that you have a compliance hearing? I'm not. Is that what they told her? I don't know.
And
I
analogies is what I was trying to think of. Your analogies. Thanks to Deidre, I found that out.
uh
The case, it says the caseworker is telling me compliance hearing. Yes, that's what she said.
okay. So well, I damn, I wish Davis was here. Um it, honestly, I honestly believe it's a
As in, have you been compliant with services? That's what she said. Complaint with services.
But I don't think you show up to that hearing, though.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
it sounds
know.
like a review hearing.
Yeah, but sometimes they do hearings without the parent. Sometimes they do hearings without the parent. I asked an attorney that, and I
Yeah,
asked
I
why.
know. I was told that I had one of those hearings last January, and then they told me that I never showed up to that hearing. And yeah, so I don't believe shit about that because I showed up at that hearing that I wasn't supposed to be at, and they told me I
Yeah,
didn't show up. So
yeah, because the compliance to me, at least, it sounds like a review. It's just a review hearing. But there's types of review hearings, you know.
yeah,
Uh, I don't know what else they're saying. I'm sorry. And you should have worn my.
the judge supposedly also will decide if my son and I can go back home that day after 3 months. I'm also 27 weeks pregnant.
Oh no. Does the social worker know, Macy, that you're 27 weeks pregnant?
It says the father of my children and I have to be there at the courthouse come December 1st.
Macy, oftentimes when they know that the mother's pregnant and they delay the case even further until the mother has the baby, and then they go after that mother's baby because, like I told you guys before, they usually place the babies in a foster home that wants to adopt the baby.
And then she said, yes, she is aware, and I have asked for a modification to be done with the safety plan, and she refuses to modify it. I know I'm very nervous about our baby girl. A safety plan? You have a safety plan in place or a case plan? I've been pushing so much stress on me so I can go into labor early. I've seen that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then when you go into labor early, they're going to say that you did not take care of the baby.
And is your son removed from you and you have a safety plan? You said your son, right? Because a safety plan and a case plan are two different things. A safety plan is supposed to be before your child is removed. Really? From my knowledge. And a case plan is after your child's been removed.
Yep. The case plan is after the child has been removed.
And she's saying it's a safety plan. So that would be, she couldn't modify the safety plan because the safety plan would turn into a case plan by that point if your child has already been removed.
Yep.
Okay, but was your son removed?
But the domestic violence, Macy,
Oh,
if it,
in my care.
but if it was a domestic
Oh, okay,
violence,
then yeah.
but wait, but if it was a domestic violence, who called it in? Was it a neighbor? Was it you? Was it the husband? Who was it? I wish she was on the show.
She said no.
He's still in her.
He's still in my care. Okay.
They're waiting for her to have my mother. She said my
No,
mother, right?
where if she that's what the compliance hearing is for.
No.
See,
Um,
she doesn't have a case plan yet. She hasn't got her son removed. So the compliance hearing is not anything to do with the case, like an investigation open yet. She still has a safety plan. So she's not even going through the whole process yet. It's just a safety plan. And her mother called the cops, apparently. And
fucking
so
believable.
that's why it's a compliance hearing to see if she's complying with the safety plan.
But
And
they're
if she
waiting
doesn't
for her
comply,
to have that baby too, Cassandra. And then they're
well,
gonna
she's
make
not coming
another
with the
kind
safety
of
plan.
excuse and allegation. You need an attorney, Macy. You need a juvenile
Yes,
dependence attorney. What county is your case in?
right away you need one.
Yep. I think is it out of state? I can't remember. Did she answer?
And she said the cops came out later the evening around 5 or 6, which I found out is not right. Then they threatened me to leave with my son or they'll take him. I'm in Texas.
Where in Texas? I'm looking for an attorney in Texas that knows Mr. Davis very well. Did she answer? I'm
Brown
looking
County.
for who?
Brown County. Yeah, Brown County.
Hmm. The attorney that I was talking about, he doesn't take cases that far. He only takes cases like near his office, and he's not in Brown County. Um, um, Macy, have we talked on the phone? Because I know some of you guys use a different name on the shows on YouTube and stuff. But if we talked, if have I spoken to you before at work? That is, and if not,
She said it's okay, Miss G. Thank you for trying, though. No, ma'am, we haven't talked on the phone.
okay. Is there any way, Macy, if you don't mind calling me tomorrow, please? It's very important. I'll explain to you in depth. Okay, then yes, let me know that what name you use on the YouTube name, so that way I know. But call the 888 number right underneath. Cassandra, call that number and tell the receptionist, either Rachel or Joni's going to answer the phone. Just tell them that you were watching the show last night and you want to speak with me, Miss G, and they will transfer the call, and then I will guide you. It's very important, baby girl, very important. Okay, because I know what they're up to. Don't put your real name, honey. Oh, did she put a real name?
Yeah, it
Is that
is
a
her
real?
real name on the.
Oh, it is.
Her real
Oh,
name is Macy. Yeah.
oh. Okay. All right, Macy. I'll wait for your call tomorrow. Um. All right, everyone. I'm just gonna end the show now, and I'm so sorry that you guys missed Mr. Davis. I will tell him. Um. She's she said, "Oops." Ah, you guys are too funny. Uh, what did Deidre say?
They haven't taken her son yet, so why would they take one? Because of the fact they're going to say she didn't do her safety plan, and then they're going to take both the children instead of just one because they
See, do
want the
you
newborn more than they want the other one because it's adoptable. That's why they're going to try to do this. We're not trying to scare you, Macy. We're just saying that they do this
we have
kind of
to.
thing.
This is not about fear. No, 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 no. I don't want you guys to look at it as fear. This is not about fear. This is about education. If you're stupid, you're going to be stupid. But when you're educated, you have knowledge and you know how to handle your case better. So don't look at it as fear. Look at it as knowledge. Knowledge is the key to success, right? So don't fucking get scared. You have to learn, understand their demonic strategy so you can be
Knowledge is
ahead of them.
power.
Yeah, knowledge is power. Yes, they can, Macy. And I'm not, again, we're not trying to scare you, but you need to be very careful. That's what they aim for. I don't know if you guys pay attention to what I say, or you guys dismiss every word I say. They make more money from adoption. Who do you think they're gonna go after? The adoptive kids. Okay? And then with domestic violence, because your mother called, even if it's a neighbor calling, they're going to say you failed to protect because you don't want to leave your husband, even though your mother is lying because she doesn't like your husband. Example. But that's what they're going to say. That's what they're going to say. And like I said to you guys before, the judge takes their recommendation. The judge don't know how to make their own decisions. They act like preschoolers. So the ones who are wearing the black robes are the social workers, not the judges. Poor things. They just sit on
Yes,
the bench and they sit like this.
Deidre,
That's how they sit.
Deidre just said, read Mr. Davis's book now. Read Mr. Davis's book now.
I'm gonna send her the book, Deidre, when I get her number tomorrow. I'll text it to her. Macy, don't forget to call me tomorrow. She's in the dark. She has no idea what's going on. Oh God. Okay, guys. I love you guys. I hope to see you guys tomorrow. If not, when I can. I hope Mr. Davis is gonna be on the show tomorrow. What did Macy say?
I also got a letter stating the investigation was closed and I was not the abuser or neglector. And I don't know, it doesn't make much sense.
Right. When they say the investigation is going to be closed, ask anybody that dealt with that shit. That we're told that. It's a lie. You know what they're trying to do? They're trying to make you comfortable so you don't run away. That's what they're trying to do. So you don't take off. There's a lot of times when the social worker goes doing the investigation, looks at the house, everything is great. Oh no, Miss So-and-so, we're not going to take your kids. Girl, you're fine. I'm going to go close the case. All of a sudden, they come back with the police. Had they told her we're going to come back with the police, guess what? There's no investigation yet, really. There's no report yet, really. She didn't sign anything yet. She can just take the kids and run away. Yeah. So you guys have to understand what they tell you is to mislead you. It's like giving you breadcrumbs because there's another motive in mind. The motive with you, Macy, is you're pregnant. That's the motive. So to them, they don't look at it as kids. They're looking at double whammies. Okay? Remember that. So they just mislead you and play with your mind, and you need, again, they're 20 steps ahead of you and you don't know what they're doing, but it's very apparent. That's what they're waiting for, is the baby. All right. I'm going to end the show, guys. Thank you so much. Again, I love you guys, and I'm praying for all of you guys, and God bless. And hopefully Mr. Davis will be with us on the show tomorrow. Bye, Cassandra.
Bye.
Love you. Bye, Jimmy.